right, welcome back to the PRESSBOX. Week 4, 5th week of the high school season. Made it out to Yoakum today. Land of Leather. Do we have to call it that, Mike?
No, we don't. We're actually at Bulldog Stadium where there's some construction going on. They're working on the track here at Bulldog Stadium. And, of course, the Bulldogs are excited this week. They're coming off a big win, their first win of the season over Schulenburg, and they're playing Marion this week. But first, we're going to talk about a district opener with Memorial and Corpus Christi Carroll.
Yeah, District's 27-5A kicking off this week. Memorial last week stayed perfect, 2-0, best start in school history, I guess. That's 9 years Memorial's been in existence. The Vipers 2-0, like I just said. Play Carroll. Carroll's 3-0 coming into this week. What do you know about Carroll?
Well, Carroll and Memorial has always been a rivalry going back to the days when there was even Victoria High and Stroman when they were in the same district. Carroll is a bit of a mystery. We don't really know how good it is. They've defeated 2 Laredo schools, and then they took a 1-point victory over Gregory Portland. Yeah. So we're not really sure, but this will be a good gauge. If the Vipers could win this, it, of course, would be a great thing for them because it would get them off on the right foot. And with 4 teams going to the playoffs in their district, that would obviously be a big step. And we talked to Coach Dan Burke about the win and about the coming up game against Marion. Okay, talking to Coach Burke from the Bulldogs. Tell me a little bit about your first win over Schulenburg. It looked like the biggest thing was you didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing was we protected the ball and we didn't have the turnovers we had in the 2 weeks prior. The first week against Columbus, we played pretty well, but we had a bunch of turnovers. Also, we dropped a bunch of dropped some passes, and then against LaGrange, I think we had 6 turnovers in the first half, which you can't win like that. But against Schulenburg the other night, we protected the football a whole lot better, and the kids played hard and executed well, so it was a good night.
How much progress have you made this season?
We feel like we've come a long way. We felt almost like we were jinxed there for a little bit, with the turnovers.
Right.
Thought, man, when's that stuff going to stop? But, hopefully the other night, gave us some confidence, and, sometimes that's all it takes is a good night to get that stuff going.
What about Marion this week?
Well, Marion's good. I mean, they're big up front. They're strong. They got a quarterback that really throws the ball well. You got to get to him and make some things happen. They got some, the receivers catch really well. Defensively, they run to the football well. They play hard. I mean, they've come a long way in a year. Also, we beat them last year, and I think they've got 9 starters back each way. That's just really 3 kids that they lost, and so it's going to be tough.
What all you're doing now is getting ready for district, and this, I guess, will be you're about ready to go to district. Do you feel like you're ready to start district?
We don't feel like we're ready yet. We need these next 2 weeks, 2 more games to get everything in and hopefully continue to get everybody healthy. We had some injuries early in the year that kept some kids out, and that we were able to play this past week, and hopefully we'll just continue to improve now. But we need these next couple of weeks to get ready to play.
All right, so the Bulldogs excited to get into the win column. What do you think they have to do to keep on winning?
Well, basically the same thing. Quit turning the ball over, keep progressing in their offense like they have, and play good defense. The same thing. Marion will be a good test for them. One of the many area games this week. Okay.
One of those games is Calhoun. They haven't played in 2 weeks. It's a good team, 4A team.
Yeah, they're ranked in the state poll number 5. They stayed at number 5 after being off again for the second week, and now they open district play against Rockport Fulton. And we'll just have to see how the layoff affected the Sand Crabs. I really feel like they can take care of business. They're playing at home. It's a district opener. So they should be as sharp as they can be, having not played in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm sure those tackling dummies, like we were out there last week, they're getting abused pretty much. I'm sure they got their holes and stuff.
Yeah, let's face it. When you're hitting on each other for a while, it gets old. Yeah. So I'm sure they'll be glad to hit somebody else.
Okay. Shifting over, last week you were at Bay City and Cuero, pretty good game. What does Cuero have faced in this week?
Well, they have another tough game. Their final non-district game, they go to Lavernia. They're ranked number 2 in the state. Boy, they've really shot up there. Cuero had a great offensive night. They had to come from behind. It was the kind of game you really like to have in the pre-district schedule because it gets you ready for the playoffs down the road. Lavernia should be another game like that. They have to travel to Lavernia. So that'll be a good test for him as well.
Okay. And I've been practicing. I've been throwing football around at my house and stuff. But you came back last Friday night, and all you could talk about, Tyler Arndt made an incredible play.
Yeah,
what's he showing this year?
He's shown that he is going to be, if he wants to be, a Division I quarterback. There's no question in my mind after watching him make some of the throws he did against Bay City. He threw one ball back against his body, using almost totally arm a perfect strike down about 15 yards down the field. And it was just amazing. I mean, he brought them back in that game along with the help of a defensive turnover, of course. But that showed what he's capable of doing. And you have to keep in mind, he's still just a junior.
Yeah. All right. Team that didn't play last Friday, but they did play on Tuesday, came out with a big win over Ingleside's Refugio. Return to action this Friday. What do you expect now of that game?
Right. Refugio moved up in the poll as well, in the 2A poll. They play Industrial. That's an interesting contest. They're both undefeated, and that'll be another good measuring stick for both of them. Industrial, I guess we really didn't know what to think about Industrial, but now we've seen them 2 games. They beat Ganado last week, and it was very convincing, and that's a big rivalry for them. So we'll see. Refugio, of course, is still progressing in their offense, and I think we want to take a look at that and see how far, if they make another step in that new offense, where we'll see how their running game goes. That's the one thing where they've struggled.
Okay, and I know there's also a big game, East Bernard, Rice Consolidated playing.
Yeah, East Bernard and Rice Consolidated. Rice is ranked. It's a district opener for both teams, and that's another big one. And then, of course, we have one other team that got in the poll. Shiner moved in the 1A poll to number 9. And the Comanches, they always play up in non-district. They like to do that. And this time they're taking a big step going to a 3A school to play Palacios. So that'll be another interesting matchup. The Comanches have done quite well. They're undefeated. And we'll see if they can handle their final non-district test. And then, of course, we have one other game I know you want to talk about a little bit, Wes, is St. Joseph is playing Pope John Paul out of Corpus Christi, which I understand this is their first varsity season.
Yeah, we better talk about them before John Mars comes in and pops us both in the back of the head. So, first season for Corpus. Coming down here, it'll be St. Joe's first home game. So,
right, and they got a big win against Houston Second Baptist last week. That was a big step for them. And they're starting to get in the mode, I know, where they're rounding into shape for district. Yeah. So I'm sure they want to have a good performance against Pope John Paul.
Yeah, it was a question. The secondary coming into the season for St. Joe, they went up against Connor Wood. He's a junior. Some of the websites have said he's a national recruit. LSU, who knows? Even maybe Detroit Lions could use him in the NFL. Who knows?
Well, what I was told about the game is that they got a good pass rush on him, and they were able to disrupt him. And some of his receivers weren't too kind to the quarterback. Yeah. So, that's what they did, what they needed to do to win, and that's a good step for the Flyers. And speaking of steps, I couldn't help but notice that in the picks, you went 13-2. I mean, the cellar dweller, all of a sudden, you make this great leap forward.
Hey, I know a lot more than I let on. I'm just playing a little.
Yeah, playing possum. You're going to let us have a big lead and then catch us at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
But we've enjoyed it out here in Yoakum, and we're hoping they get this track done in time for track season. And right now I know the Bulldogs have their minds on football, and then they'll meet Marion, and next week we'll be back with another edition of the Press Box.
Another aspect of the Press Box is highlights. We're encouraging coaches and fans to send in clips. You can either do this by sending us a URL from YouTube or bringing us a physical copy. Our address here is 311 East Constitution in Victoria.